convicted by the authorities in Brazil.
The cargo ship arrived in Suffolk with more than 70 containers alleged to have been illegally transporting medical waste and dirty nappies. Martin Stew was there to see its return.
Sailing into controversy, the 39,000-ton MSC Serena arrived at Felixstowe this morning after an international journey which threatened to ruin international relations. And from sea level, it's clear to see just how big the MSC Serena is. On board, hundreds of containers, amongst them the 71 which contain potentially toxic waste. The waste was originally shipped thousands of miles from Britain to Brazil to be recycled. But when port staff at Sao Paulo opened the containers, instead of finding recyclable plastics, they claim they found toxic waste, including dirty nappies, syringes and other used medical equipment. Waste which is illegal to export. Furious, the Brazilian authorities sent the containers back to Britain. Now at Felixstowe, the port deemed most suitable to deal with the containers, the Environment Agency can start piecing together just how this waste could have been allowed to leave our shores. They're already questioning 3 men who were arrested in Swindon. Now the fact-finding, clean-up and safe disposal of that waste can begin.
The containers will be brought onto port side. My team will then take constructive possession of those. So that means that they're catalogued and logged as exhibits. And once they're all in one place, we will then move them to the facility elsewhere, which is not too far away, where the fumigation process starts and the investigation and evidence capture commences.
The Suffolk Green Party want to see the waste dealt with quickly, but not at the Suffolk taxpayers' expense.
I'd like to think that if we dispose of it locally here in Suffolk through the NHS or the County Council, then that the cost of that will be claimed back from the perpetrators when they have been caught and convicted.
The clean-up at Felixstowe is expected to take up to 2 weeks. To clean up Britain's international reputation may take a lot longer. Martin Stew, Anglia News, Felixstowe.
Well, next tonight, the threat from the far right that's prompted a ban on unofficial marches in Luton. Bedfordshire Police and Luton Borough Council have today been granted an order prohibiting them for the next 3 months.
The order follows weeks of speculation about proposed demonstrations and a planned march by the English Defence League over the bank holiday weekend. Neil Bradford has this report.
Luton is proud of its diversity, but recent images appear to tell a very different story. A protest at the homecoming of the Royal Anglians in March by Islamic extremists sparked counter-protests from the far right. This one, in May, ended in violence. Together with the police, Luton Borough Council has successfully applied to ban similar unofficial marches.
What we've seen throughout spring and summer is a series of marches which has escalated in violence, threats and intimidation. Now that cannot and will not be tolerated by Bedfordshire Police.
The banning order comes after speculation about a proposed march next Sunday by a group calling themselves the English Defence League. Earlier this month, a protest by the group in Birmingham also ended in violence. But not everyone in Luton is sure the ban is the right decision.
Prevention is better than cure, isn't it?
I think people should be able to demonstrate as they see fit.
By not allowing them to march, that makes a lot more trouble.
To have the freedom of having meetings or whatever, as long as everybody behaves themselves, which I don't suppose they will.
The banning order prevents groups of 5 or more from marching through the centre of Luton for the next 3 months. But what it doesn't and can't do is stop them from gathering here in the first place.
Anyone who wants to come to Luton to express their opinion, to use their freedom of speech, who'll cooperate with us and do that within the law, is welcome. We're not trying to hide controversial views. We're not trying to suppress views. In fact, we're into open debate.
There'll be a heavy police presence in the town next Sunday. The message to troublemakers is stay away. You won't be welcomed here. Neil Bradford, Anglia News, Luton.
And Bedfordshire Police have just announced that 7 people have been charged in connection with the disturbance during the homecoming march by the Royal Anglian Regiment through the town. That was on March the 10th. They're due to appear before Luton Magistrates Court next month. Another 10 people have been charged in connection with the far-right protest in the town in May.
Meanwhile, baggage handlers and other workers at Stansted Airport have voted to go on strike in a row over pay. Members of the Unite and GMB employed by Swissport backed industrial action, although the unions held back from naming any strike dates. The dispute has raised fears of disruption at the airports over the August bank holiday. The unions have accused Swissport of failing to honour a 2-year pay deal. The company says it's incurred heavy losses this year. Well, do stay with us. More news.